This is Chapter 4, Brendan Espinoza. The impressive breadth and diversity of wildlife in the modern middle school is on display nowhere more than in the lunchroom. Here we see the species Cheerleaderus maximus grazing in her native habitat, the salad bar. I focus on Brittany Vandervelde and Letitia Buds as they make the delicate selection of lettuce, cucumber, and tomato slices. As I shoot, I balance the flip cam on my forearm to keep it steady. Everything looks better on YouTube when the camera work isn't all jumpy. A longing glance in the direction of the pizza table. I continue my narration, but alas, it is not to be. For Cheerleaderus, this meal is garnished with a radish rose and fat-free dressing. And wait, I blew back the shot to include Jordan McDaniel heading out of the food line with a heavily laden tray. Could it be? Yes, sir. Where clumsiest fall down he is, weaving his way to the nearest table. You can do it, clumsiest. Uh-oh, there goes the soup and the orange run across the floor. Oh man, this stuff writes itself. Who needs a script when you got real life? And now we leave the relative safety of the food line and venture into the lion's den. I go on panning over to the corner table where Aaron Hackeman, Bear Bratsky, and some of their football buddies are eating too much and laughing too loud. This is the land of the carnivores, where lesser animals feel their tread. Don't I know it? I'm filming on maximum zoom, even though it's bound to be a little blurry. I sure don't intend to go any closer and get fed my own video camera. But where's their leader, the apex predator? Could that be him paying for a pack of fig Newtons at the cash register? Yes, it is, the king of the beast. Footballless heroes, the thunderous footsteps shocking terror in the hearts of all creatures great and small. Watch him make his majestic way as I pan my flip cam to follow Chase Ambrose's path to his football buddies. He disappears from the frame. I frown. He's not going over there. He's headed somewhere else. I get him back into my shot and struggle to continue my voiceover. Wait, mighty footballist has changed direction. He's taken his body self to a different table. For reasons known only to his supreme mightiness, he's coming. Oh my God, he's coming over here. Coming here. I whip the camera away fast enough to leave a trail of burnt air hanging in the cafeteria. He's right opposite me, larger than life, holding a tray over my table. Why is Chase Ambrose coming anywhere near lowly me? Does he know I'm making fun of him and his friends in a YouTube video? If so, I'm dead. No ifs, ands, or buts. My last interaction with him was the time he and his co-netheralls stood me against a tetherball bowl and played an intense game, the rope whipping around me until I was trussed up like a turkey. I'd probably still be there if the sanitation workers haven't come to empty the dumpster that day, Actually, I'm lucky I wasn't in the dumpster. Those jerks bullied Joe Weber so badly that his folks finally sent him to boarding school. Is anyone sitting here? Chase asked. I glanced up, expecting to get a face full of something. He's standing there, looking like he's never laid eyes on me before. My mind screams, red alert, but aloud I say, help yourself. He takes a seat and then actually spreads his napkin across his lap, just like a civilized person. Although I look down at my lap, no napkin, and probably none on any lap in the entire cafeteria. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. Could the rumors be true? It was the biggest news in town that the great Chase Ambrose fell off his roof and landed on his head this summer. You can still see the cuts and scrapes on his face, his arms in a sling. But the gossip around the school is that the guy actually has amnesia. He doesn't remember anything from before the accident. I thought it was just a rumor. But what other explanation could there be for why he's sitting here with me instead of his football friends and acting like a human being, no less? My video on hold. I turn back to eating, and let me tell you, that's not easy when you're sitting across from the apex predator. Amnesia or not, I heard that some amnesia is temporarily. If it all comes back to him, I could have my entire egg salad shoved up my nose just for daring to be near him. Then I noticed that he's struggling to swallow away the barbecue chicken breast. The dull plastic utensils don't make it easy, especially with one arm immobilized against his chest. He's really working hard at it. Beads of sweat stand out on his brow. I speak the craziest, most foolhardy words that have ever come out of my mouth. You need help with that? No thanks, he keeps on stalling, getting nowhere, his frustration growing. I still can't explain why I do it. I get up, loop around the long table, and approach Chase from behind. It's easier when both arms work. He battles a moment longer, then gives in with a sigh. Maybe I could use a hand. So there I am in the middle of the cafeteria, hunched over the apex predator, cutting up his chicken. At one point, Shoshana Weber passes by and shoots me a look that perfectly combines shock, amazement, and disapproval. Or maybe she's trying to just figure out why I'm sorry what his meat instead of his carotid artery. I finish put down the knife and hand him back the fork. No thanks, he says sheepishly. No big deal. I return to my side of the table, sit down, and hit the floor hard. A chorus of raucous laughter explodes all around me. That's when I notice I'm surrounded by football players. Barry puts my chair down on top of me, trapping me under it. Chase, man, you're at the wrong table, Aaron exclaims. Come with us. We saved your spot. They practically kidnap him and drag him to the lion's den. A few seconds later, the chair is lifted off me, and somebody hauls me to my feet. Chase, sorry, he says, looking uncomfortable. Come on, man, over here. Comes a volley of shouts. He hesitates. They're your teammates and best friends, I tell him, because maybe he doesn't remember right. If I didn't know better, I'd think that he wasn't thrilled with the idea. Back in my seat, I take out my camera and realize that the video has been running the whole time. There's no picture, obviously, but the audio is all there. I might just listen to it later to prove myself that I've had a close encounter with Chase Ambrose and lived to tell the tale.
Okay, good job. Chapter 5, Chase Ambrose. So Chase is back to telling us the story. Every time I see a little girl, it brings me back to the one from my memory, the blonde girl with the blue dress trimmed with white lace. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe when you only remember one thing, it sticks with you. If only I could remember where I remember her from. I think of her again when I see the little kid on the monkey bars at the playground. It's my first day without the sling in more than a month, and since forever, in a way, because I remember nothing from before the accident. I'm out walking, enjoying my freedom from the tight wrapping on my shoulder. It feels fine, normal. And I see that after 2 weeks of school that were anything but, normal is the last word to describe a place where you're a stranger in a strange land despite the fact that everybody knows you. That's when I recognize the girl scrambling all over the jungle gym. It's Helene, my half-sister. She's definitely high energy and really kind of cute, crawling through tunnels, whizzing down slides, and just as quickly climbing up again. She's a little too wild, especially up top. I guess she's too young to understand that falling on your head runs in our family. Just as the thought crosses my mind, she loses her grip, tumbles off the top of the twisty slide. I'm there like a shot, catching her and swinging her around like it's part of the game. She squeals in exhilaration, spreading her arms, and I get into the spirit, making airplane noises. She's loving it. I'm doubly thrilled because my shoulder is holding up fine. The two of us are having a great time till she looks down and sees who's got her. Mommy, she screams. Her scream carries all around the park. It's okay, Helene, it's me, Chase, your brother. I want to go down. Now she's red in the face and crying. I set her on the ground and watch as she runs off to join Corinne, who's hustling our way. Great. Dad's family already has a problem with me, and now they're going to think I've been terrorizing their daughter. Sorry, I mumble. I didn't mean to scare her. I saw what happened. Thank you for catching her. There's nothing wrong with what she's saying. It's the way she says it. Too polite, too distant, like I'm a stranger instead of her stepson. Helene has her face buried in her mother's sweater and refuses to look at me. I guess she doesn't like me very much, I comment. Corinne softens. She's just a little afraid of you. Afraid of me? What could I have done that would make a 4-year-old freak out every time I come near her? Before I can finish the thought, a loud horn honks. A panel truck pulls up to the curb. Ambrose Electric is stenciled on the side. The driver's side window rolls down and my dad sticks his head out. Fire up the grill at 5:30, Cor. I'm bringing home the biggest steaks you've ever seen. He catches sight of me. Hey, champ, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at practice. I wave. Doctor's orders, remember? Your arm's fine. Yeah, pretty good. I point to my head. It's the concussion. He looks disgusted. Doctors, they'll keep you in a bubble wrap the rest of your life if you let them. Well, how about dinner then? I'll bet you could use a good steak. You're not going to get your strength back on the rabbit food your mom's slinging at you. Thanks. Some other time. I hesitate. I saw your state championship picture on the principal's wall. I didn't know. I knew at some point, but he laughs with delight. There are a lot of athletes out there, but only a few of us can make it rain. There's something special about Ambrose men, champ. Don't let your mother coddle it out of you like she did with your brother. He drives off, his truck backfiring as he pulls away from the curb. Bye, Daddy, calls Helene. Bye, Helene, I say to her. As soon as we make eye contact, she looks away. Yeah. I'm definitely famous at Hiwassee Middle. The part I can't figure out is whether I'm famous good or famous bad. The athletic program is my home here, or at least it was before I got hurt. All my friends seem to be jocks, mostly football players. I guess they were pretty worried when they heard about my accident. I pick up on the occasional grumbling that I have to miss the season, but mostly people are just relieved that I'm okay. The Hiwassee Hurricanes are kind of the kings of the school. It's a pretty good role to come out of a coma and fall straight into. Since I'm the former captain, I'm almost like the king of kings. To be honest, though, it's hard to picture how I got along with them so well. They're loud, kind of obnoxious, and even though they're really tight, they spend a lot of time shoving and punching each other. Insults constantly fly between them. They probably don't mean it, but it can get pretty ugly. Was I like that too? When I was, me? Did I greet my closest friends by pointing out imaginary stains on their shirts so I could slap their faces? Did I insult their moms, their grandmothers, and their grandmothers' grandmothers? Probably. Even so, that was then and this is now. I've lost a step. Maybe because of my concussion. I can't keep up with those guys anymore. Aaron and Bear shield me from the worst of it. Dudes, they'll say, dial it down, our boy's injured. Or they'll step in front of me to absorb a friendly punch or forearm smash. I appreciate their help, still it doesn't change the fact that I'm not the Chase I used to be. I almost wish they'd stop trying to protect me. I hate being weak. The other guys are treating me like I'm strong. I'm not, I get that. But maybe I can fake it until my strength comes back. In the end, Aaron and Bear stress me out more than any of the others because they ask me all these questions. What do you remember? Is your memory coming back yet? When does the doctor say that could happen? When will you be your old self again? Since I've got nothing else to offer them, I describe the one memory that I do have, the little girl in the blue dress. And they listen with great concentration. And Aaron prompts, eyes wide. That's it. That's the only thing I remember. But who is she? Bear persists. Where did you see her? I shrug. I don't know. That's all I've got. They stare at me for a long moment and then both burst out laughing. I'm annoyed. It's not funny. Don't you think I'd tell you more if I had more to tell? Do you know what the word amnesia means? Relax. Aaron puts an arm around my shoulders. We've got your back, boys, to the end. Aside from the football players, most of the kids act kind of odd around me. Conversations end when I enter a room. Faces turn toward lockers as I make my way down a hall. I get that the whole school's heard the story of my amnesia, and they're a little weirded out by me, but that doesn't explain everything. This one girl who's pushing a rolling cart of textbooks, when she sees me walking next to her, her eyes just about pop out of her head. She spins away, slams into the wall of a doorway, a clove. Books go flying in all directions. She trips on one, starts to go down, so I grab her just to steady her. Then she really loses it. Don't, she squeals so loudly that we're the instant center of attention, and I'm mystified. Let me help you pick up those. No, and she's gone, practically running along the corridor, dropping even more books as she escapes. What did I do? I asked Aaron and Bear about it after school, and they treat it like the stupidest question ever. What do you care if a bunch of random nobodies don't like you? Bear demands. It's not that, I tell them. She was scared. Where did that come from? The two exchange a glance. Man, you really did lose your memory, Aaron comments. Come on, guys, talk to me. Bear is impatient. We don't have time. Why? I query. There's no practice today. We've got to be at the Gray Beer Motel by 3:30. What's the Gray Beer Motel? We've still got 2 months left on our community service, Bear supplies. At the assisted living place on Portland Street, helping out with the geezers and the grandmas. Not everybody's lucky enough to fall off a roof and get excused. I'm on community service? I may not remember much, but I know that community service isn't like getting a detention at school. It's something you get ordered to do in court by a judge. I struggle to sound casual. The last thing I want to do is come across like a wimp to my two best friends. What do we do to get sentenced? I nearly choke on the word, to community service. It was no big deal, Aaron scoffs. We planted a couple of cherry bombs in the piano at open house. It was awesome. Cops are such sticklers about property damage. Like there's a great piano shortage in the world. So we got, I'm nonchalant, but it takes some doing, arrested. We have to go, Bear insists. Yeah, Aaron faces me. Listen, man, I know it bugs you that you can't remember anything about yourself before the accident. Let me fill you in on some details. Our boy Chase isn't the kind of kid to get bent out of shape about a bunch of idiots overreacting to a few firecrackers. We did what we did, and we got in trouble for it. End of story. End of story, I echo. I'm speaking carefully, almost as if I'm trying it on for size. I mean, nobody got hurt, so what's the big deal? Bear snickers. Yeah, right, nobody. The problem with Hiwassee, Aaron goes on, is that everybody's jealous of us. I don't blame them. We do what we want. Nobody messes with us. Even the adults are jealous. Because when they were kids, they were probably losers too. So when Fitzwallace or some judge gets a chance to slap us down, they go hard. Since it's the only revenge they're ever going to get. You can't take it personally. I'm not in agreement. It's kind of not fair. Bear grins. Sometimes I cry myself to sleep at night just thinking of the injustices of it all. I laugh. Aaron and Bear wouldn't cry if you jammed flaming bamboo under their fingernails. They're the toughest guys in the world. Thanks for being straight with me, I tell them, and mean it. My own mother kept me in the dark about this. I don't know what she's thinking. Maybe that if I can't remember, it never happened. Aaron shrugs. It's a mom thing. They're all the same. If it's fun, it must be bad. My dad warned me about that, I admit. He said I shouldn't let her coddle me. Your dad is the man, Bear exclaims. He was part of the best football team ever to come out of this place next to ours. I mean, when you come back, we're going to wreck. That pulls me up short. Bear knows as well as anybody that I'm out for the season. It makes me wonder, should I be? Dad doesn't think so. It's Mom, the coddler, who took Dr. Cooperman's word for it. How much should I put my trust in her? She's the one who tried to hide a pretty major part of my past from me. If it wasn't for Aaron and Bear, I might never have figured it out. Who knows what else she's holding back. When Mom gets home from work that day, I'm there at the front door to throw it in her face. Where do you get off? She looks totally bewildered. I forge on. You were so devastated when I got amnesia, but not too devastated to pass up a little editing job on my life. Editing job? Don't you think I have the right to know that Aaron Bear and I were arrested and sentenced to community service? She doesn't answer right away. She sets down her bag, shrugs out of her jacket, walks to the living room, collapses wearily into a chair. At last she says, "You've just been through an awful ordeal. How can it help your recovery if I tell you a lot of things that are just going to upset you?" Things, I echo. You mean there are more? How many other nice little stories have you been keeping away from me? She seems genuinely sad. I love you and support you through the end of the world. You know that. I've always seen the good in you, Chase, and I believe that's the person you really are deep down. But you've had your moments. I have a sickening vision of faces turning away from me, of kids shrinking back at my approach, fear in their body language. I think of that crazy girl who was angry enough to dump a tub of frozen yogurt over my head. What if she wasn't crazy at all? What if I deserved it? Then I think back to the conversation with Aaron and Bear. There are two sides to every story, and Mom is taking the opposite one. But that shouldn't surprise me. Her kid got in trouble. Major trouble. If the community service is any indication. Okay, it wasn't a very nice thing to do, I admit. But I don't understand why the school had to make such a big deal out of it. She stares at me. How can you, of all people, say that after everything that's happened? Maybe because I don't remember everything that's happened, I shot back. There were firecrackers, not grenades. It was a prank. My mother's expression becomes hard. Never mind the poor musician you practically put into cardiac arrest. The problem was the auditorium of people that thought they were under attack. It was pure luck. Nobody got injured in that panic. I'm sure that's what Dr. Fitzwallace was thinking when he decided to bring in the police. I hear Mom tell the story and feel ashamed. But if you go by Aaron and Bear, it was a nothing gag that the school blew out of proportion because they were out to get us. Who's telling the truth? Is Mom making it sound worse to scare me straight? Because, as Dad would say, she's coddling me? When I got amnesia, I lost 13 years of my life. I have to replace those memories using what I can pick up from other people. But everyone has a slightly different version of me. Mom, Dad, my friends, the kids at school, even the frozen yogurt girl. For all I know, the lunch ladies know me better than anyone else. Who should I believe? Okay.